Hello, and welcome to episode 164 of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. I'm your host, Kim Newlove. This is one of my drug name pronunciation episodes. Today, we're talking about Keppra, also known as levetiracetam, which is used to treat seizures. If you're new to the Pharmacist Voice podcast, welcome. In my pronunciation episodes, I say a brand name drug and its generic, break both drug names down into syllables, explain which syllable or syllables have the emphasis, reveal the source or sources of the information, and put the written pronunciations of both in the show notes so that you can see them and use them right away. I'm challenging myself to be brief today. I'm going for an 8-minute episode. Let's see how we do. Let's go. Let's talk about the brand name drug first. Keppra. Keppra has 2 syllables. It's pronounced Keppra. Keppra. The first syllable, Kepp, gets the emphasis. Keppra. Keppra. How did I know how to pronounce Keppra? I found the written pronunciation on Keppra's medication guide. Keppra's medication guide. Where did I find that medication guide? It's on the FDA's website. There's a link to the medication guide in the show notes. Let's move on to the generic, which is levetiracetam. Levetiracetam has 6 syllables. Let's see if you can hear them. Levetiracetam. Levetiracetam. The first syllable, le, L-E-E, gets the secondary emphasis. The fourth syllable, ra, R-A, gets the primary emphasis. Emphasize le, but stress ra more than le. It sounds like this. Levetiracetam. Levetiracetam. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. I did not know how to pronounce levetiracetam until I got a subscription to the USP Dictionary online. No, this is not an advertisement. I am not paid for mentioning this. Today's levetiracetam pronunciation came from the USP Dictionary online. The link for that is in the show notes. Now, back when I was a practicing pharmacist in the community practice setting, I would see levetiracetam on that Keppra bottle, and I would avoid saying it. I don't know if you have that experience as well, but I would just call it Keppra or generic Keppra, and that's just how I got around it. But as I've become a voice actor and a podcast host, I really care about saying things correctly, so I have learned to use the USP Dictionary online. Another reason that I care about drug name pronunciations is that I have a drug name pronunciation course. It is called Pronounce Drug Names Like a Pro, and that's what I help you do. I help you learn how to pronounce brand and generic drug names. If you want to learn more about that, go to thepharmacistvoice.com and click on the store tab, or go to kimnewlove.com and you'll find it there. Now for a cautionary tale. We're switching gears here. Now, let's come to an agreement, folks. Can we agree that as pharmacists, pharmacy students, pharmacy technicians, whoever's listening to this, professors maybe even, we're all just trying to pronounce drug names correctly so that we sound confident and can communicate effectively, right? Definitely. But what happens when you're frustrated because you don't know how to pronounce a drug name? We're pharmacists. We do research. We love research. And where's the number one place that you're going to do your research? Online. You're either going to Google it or go to YouTube. I'm just guessing. Am I right? Now, that's a very normal thing to do in the year 2022. What you're doing has a name. What you're doing is called crowdsourcing information. Sure, you'll get a lot of examples of how to say levetiracetam, but when you find 2 or more that don't match, how do you pick the right one? It's a great question. I'll answer that question after this 20-second audio clip of crowdsourced levetiracetam pronunciations. Enjoy.
Levetiracetam.
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 Levetiracetam. Levetiracetam.
Levetiracetam.
Levetiracetam.
Levetiracetam.
Now that you've heard the examples, do any of them sound like how I say levetiracetam? No, they don't. Some of them are close. Levetiracetam is pretty close. Now, I went through more than a dozen YouTube videos to find what I presented to you there in that 20-second audio clip, and I didn't find a single one that pronounced it the way that I pronounce it. Are you surprised? I was. Why am I surprised? It's because I got the pronunciation from the USP Dictionary online, which is the leading source of generic drug name pronunciations in the United States. They literally wrote the dictionary on how to pronounce drug names in the United States. Generic drug names. Why doesn't everyone just look up hard drug names in the dictionary? I honestly don't know. I didn't even know about the dictionary, though, until a couple of years ago. A few years ago. The fact that this USP Dictionary online is a subscription-based resource probably doesn't help, let's be honest. For $348 per year, how many people are going to subscribe to this resource just to get the correct drug name pronunciations? I don't know. You'd probably have to ask them. So I'm not trying to rip on the USP Dictionary online. I love that resource. But I can say that it is much easier to Google something or go on YouTube, and that's what we do. Pharmacists crowdsource our information for free when we don't know how to pronounce something. And then the telephone game begins. Have you ever heard of the telephone game? Basically, when one person hears a drug name, then they use it. And the person listening to that then uses what they heard. It's like playing the telephone game when you're a kid. Can you imagine a kindergarten class with 20, 25, 30 kids all in a circle, okay? And they're whispering a phrase in each other's ears. So one after another, they go around this circle. For example, you can say, I like Reese's peanut butter cups. And that kid will tell the next kid that exact statement. And by the time it gets around to the first person, that 25th kid is telling the first person, I like grapes and jelly. You know, they just mess it up. And that is what happens in real life. We hear something and we perpetuate mistakes. Little things get tweaked and out of whack. It even happens with medicine. I'm a pharmacist. If you are a pharmacist listening to this, you know that we love evidence-based everything. And if there is a dictionary with pronunciations in it, I want to get my pronunciations from that dictionary. Now, are we all just trying to get it right? Absolutely. But sometimes a simple message can end up distorted and incorrect. Do we all know what one another's talking about when we use so many different pronunciations? I'd like to think so. Yeah. Am I the pronunciation police, the drug name pronunciation police? No way. But I am using podcasting as a way to be a thought leader on the topic of drug name pronunciations. Listen, I care about pronouncing drug names correctly, and I care about getting the right drug to the right patient for the right diagnosis, and being the trusted person who knows what she's talking about. Have you ever heard someone mispronounce a drug name and you think, uh-oh, they pronounced it the wrong way. I don't know if I can trust them. That person's not one of us. Come on, admit it. You know you have. When a patient tells you, for example, that they need their omeprazole filled, you know you are not talking to a fellow healthcare professional. We all have biases when we hear things pronounced incorrectly. It is one of our ways, it's one of our safety mechanisms of thinking, is this person one of us? Can this person be trusted? Keep that in mind. We are all trying to get it right, but you have an opportunity to get it right for yourself when you pronounce a drug name, and you have an opportunity to get it right for your patient. Keep that in mind. But also keep in mind that if you are crowdsourcing information and you get two or more anything, whether we're talking about pronunciations or something else, you need to question which one is the right one, which one's the real one. Okay? Unless you check a reliable source, you're going to end up guessing. If you're a pharmacist listening to this, you know that a lot of what we do is life or death. You do not want to mess up life or death decisions. Pronunciations may or may not fall into that category. If you pronounce something incorrectly and it is very similar to something else, something bad could happen. I want to encourage you, I want to challenge you to take drug name pronunciations just as seriously as you do anything else. Now I've got to throw something in just for the voice actors. If you are a voice actor in the medical space who's listening to this, hopefully your director or whoever has hired you is providing the pronunciations that they want you to use. Because, hey, they want to get it right too. Because when their company has something incorrectly pronounced on an explainer video or in some e-learning modules, they don't sound as reliable or trustworthy as well. So if you're a voice actor, I encourage you to get it right too. That ends my discussion of the pronunciation of Keppra and levetiracetam. I'd like to take just a moment to say thank you to the USP Legal Department for permission to use written pronunciations from their USP dictionary online in my YouTube videos and podcast show notes. Now, as a reminder, you already know this, there's a lot of misinformation online. The purpose of these pronunciation episodes is to provide the intended pronunciations of drug names from reliable sources. I want you to feel confident saying drug names and less frustrated learning them. I hope these pronunciation episodes help. That's all I've got for you. Let's wrap this up. Thank you for listening to episode 164 of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. Please visit thepharmacistvoice.com to read the show notes. What's in the show notes today, Kim? You'll find the pronunciations of Keppra and levetiracetam, links to Keppra's website, the USP Dictionary online, my first 6 pronunciation episodes, and more in those show notes. If you are interested in picking a drug name for a future pronunciation episode, please visit thepharmacistvoice.com and click on the Contact tab. Either leave me a voicemail message or type out a written message using the contact form. I would love to hear from you. If you know someone who would like this episode or needs to hear it, please share it with them. And subscribe to or follow the Pharmacist Voice podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you again for listening. Thanks for sticking around. That was totally more than 8 minutes. I failed my challenge to myself. More than 8 minutes. That's okay. I always try to go between 8 and 17 minutes. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter. Have a great day.